They call me sassy when I'm strolling down the street. They call me classy when I'm serving just the best. Just the best. They call me sassy when I'm strolling down the street. They call me classy when I'm serving just the best. Just the best.
Hello, gorgeous people of a broadcast. I hope you are having a beautiful morning or day or afternoon, wherever you are in this world. I'm very excited about today. This is our first Q&A of broadcast, and I actually have a lot of really great questions. So I've pulled quite a few. We'll see how far we can get into this, but I'm loving your questions so far. And then tomorrow I have another module for you, and then we'll have another Q&A. So we're building. But the feedback has been extraordinary. And I want to give you guys some feedback also, because a lot of you did the homework in the group and actually went live and gave the feedback of why the world would benefit from hearing your voice. I loved reading why the world would benefit from hearing your voice. I want you to know I'm not commenting on everything. That doesn't mean I didn't read what you wrote. Just because sometimes if I comment on some and not everybody, people are like, oh my gosh, Melanie missed me. I'm the only one she didn't see. I don't want to create that in the group. So I've read, even though I didn't comment on everything, and I want to give you some feedback on some of the videos. So one of the things that is quite important is the visual aspect of the live stream. And we're going to add that as an extra component. This is usually something I talk about more in Impact Academy, but I want to give you a really important thing when it comes to what helps me in my live streams in order to not get super self-conscious of self. So first things first, the camera, when you're doing a Zoom live, let's say you're broadcasting into your Facebook and you're using Zoom, like I'm doing, I always lift this up higher so that I can look at, and I have an external camera, but I look at you guys across the top, not at me. So I'm looking much closer to the camera. Because if I were looking at myself, I'd be looking down a little bit. So for it to actually feel like I'm looking at you and to not actually be, distracted by my one stray eyelash, or if I have a little pimple or a blemish or, an annoying piece of hair or something, I don't even look at myself because I'm looking at you. So that's very helpful for me in this. When you're doing a live stream, though, you don't have that benefit. When you're doing a live stream, you're looking at yourself. So I've perfected the art of this. Look how smashed my phone is. I dropped my phone and it completely smashed. This is Kevin. Why don't you have a case? I don't want to have a case. I like it when my phone is thin, but you'll drop it and you'll break it. No, I won't. Ta-da. Okay. So here's the thing. If you hold your phone low, you're going to get this part of you. And that is not our favorite part of us. It also makes it that your eyes look down in the camera. If you're too close to your face like this, you're going to look like you're looking at your nose. So what I have found is that you've got to imagine you're FaceTiming someone. You know, when you FaceTime your mom, like how do you hold the phone? So you hold your hand at a certain extent, but what I do is I make sure that when I'm looking in the camera, I'm looking in my eyes. Then again, I'm not looking at my hair. I'm not looking at my face, and I'm not looking all over the place. I'm looking at my eyes in the camera, and that translates to me looking in your eyes in the camera. So if you ever watch a live stream of mine, you'll see like it looks like I'm looking right at you, because in fact, I'm looking right into my own eyes. And that has helped me stay really connected because I'm looking into my own eyes, and it's also not distracting me from looking at the rest of me that might not be so perfect. It's like I'm looking eye to eye with myself and I'm in the zone, and that's really helpful for me. So when you're doing your live streams, this might help you get in the zone. The other thing that's quite important is lighting. So if you're backlit, if the light's coming from behind you, people are not going to be able to see you as clearly. You want to be facing the light, but not in direct light, because or else phone casts a shadow on your face. So you want to be facing the light, but not in direct light. That's the actual best way to capture the most poppy eyes. And to me, in a live stream, what really matters to me is the quality of, can I see the person's face properly? And are their eyes sharp? That's what's going to make me stick to a video. If I can't see your eyes, usually it'll distract me and I'm out. So when you've got this, when you're facing the sunshine, your eyes are going to get the best light. You're looking right into your eyes in the camera. That's going to get the greatest connection with your people, and it won't distract you from going all over the place. So if you want to try that in what you're doing, that will be great. I loved some of the commentary of like, okay, I'm noticing myself. Okay, I'm saying I'm a bunch. Oh, I'm noticing my, see now I'm noticing myself. I like doing the actual exercise for some of you was like an awakener. Like, oh, I'm noticing all these things I'm doing. So important to know the difference between doing this work just to find all the flaws about you and how you're not perfect versus studying yourself in order to become an extraordinary speaker and really processing that in your nervous system differently. It's so different to be like, oh gosh, and now I did that. Oh, I played with my hair again. Oh, I said again. Oh my gosh, I'm looking all over the place. What's wrong with me? I'm so bad at this. Versus saying, oh, look, okay, that's a pattern. Got it. Because when we notice things, but we judge them, we tend to do them more. When we notice things in order to study them, we start to change them. So just make sure that you're being kind to yourself in this process. This is not a judgment process. It's a refinement process. It's important that we feel the difference. Okay, so I have a bunch of questions. I'm going to jump right in. So for some of these, they're long and I've already read them. So I'm going to give you the punchline of the question. Okay, so this one's from Marie Howell, and she says, my question, after some context, is what would you do if you're capable of so much more, and yet so much of what you've produced publicly is so cringeworthy? Okay, I want to tell you that so much of what I produced in the beginning is cringeworthy. Like, so much of it was cringeworthy, and I didn't delete any of it. And the reason I didn't delete any of it is because from the beginning, I had a feeling that I was doing this for all of us. And I had a feeling that one day it would help you to see it. I don't know why. I just did. I just felt like one day if I make it, if I'm really good at this one day, people will think I was good at this. Has always been a thing in my life. No matter how hard I've had to work in order to do something, as soon as I'm good at it, people are just like, yeah, well, it's easy for you. I'm like, go watch 2015 version of me. We'll talk about it. So I like to keep it up because sometimes you forget how much you've grown. Sometimes you forget how much you've changed. Sometimes it's good for you to see the difference. So I keep them. But if you don't have the vision for the world like I do, so if you're like, no, I really don't care about the world. I don't think I'm going to be showing people how to do this one day. That's not what this is for. For me, it really isn't about my progress. It really is about the right message. And I don't want anything of me out there that's not perfect for me. Delete it. It doesn't matter. It's just if you are on a journey of evolution and growth over a lifetime and you think it might serve your mission for people to see your progress, keep it. If you are on a journey of refinement and all that matters is what's current, delete it. You can't mess it up. And if you wanted, you could download it, save it into a Google Drive and have it so that later on in life, if it ever was relevant for you to use it, you've got it. I've got all my videos stored in Google Drives. I have everything everywhere. Even if my Facebook did crash, I would have all of my old material. So you can always save it if you want. But if you don't want the public to see it, you can also hide it on your timeline. So there's an option for every post that's on your timeline where you can go and say, hide this from the public or make it private. You can also do that if that makes you happy. But the whole goal is that you should know you're capable of so much better, even when you're nailing it. I know I'm capable of so much better. That's the fun part. If I was like, well, this is the peak, I have arrived, I'm perfect. I'd like, that's kind of boring. I'm always excited about how much better it can get. And I think it's the lens. If you look at it through evolution and growth over a lifetime, you won't look at it like, oh, gosh, I could be so much better at this. You'd be like, I'm so excited to get better at this. And you can wear that hat your whole life. You can say that forever, even when you're so good that people are like, how could you get better at this? You say, I don't know, but I'm excited to find out. And that's a much lighter approach to all of this, in my opinion. Okay, next question is from Sandy. And Sandy says, could you please speak on how to navigate growth, expansion, and change in our broadcasting? When we spoke about something with conviction, and then later on our journey and our update, we find new perspectives and we change. I imagine that there are powerful ways to own it as we hopefully always grow and change. So this is so important. When we're speaking about conviction in the context of this program, it's that we stand behind what we're saying. But there are people who don't just stand behind what they're saying energetically. They're trying to convince people that what they're saying is true. Now, there's a difference between I have conviction and I want to convince you. Can you feel the difference? Even just when I say these two things, right? So I have conviction feels like I'm coming from a really solid place. I want to convince you feels like I want you to agree with me. And where people get pie on their face, especially in the social media world, is that you are going to change your mind about certain things. There are things that are going to feel so real and so true at certain phases of your life, your relationship, your business. And then a few years down the line, with more life experience and different circumstances, you will see something differently. It's important to remind yourself of that. Conviction isn't about I'm right. Conviction is about I'm solid. Conviction is I'm willing to stand for this. And if it changes, I'll be willing to stand for that change. I also stand for evolution and growth over a lifetime. So what does this look like? Let's say you really want to speak about marriages and how it really should be that people stick to their marriages and never give up no matter what happens. But in 4 years from now, there's something unforgivable that happens in your marriage and you want a divorce. You're like, I can't get a divorce because I've been speaking on the fact that people shouldn't get divorced for 4 years. That is a trap. You want to speak about, this is why I currently believe this. And then later on, if there's a pivot, it's like, here's what made me pivot my conviction. And it's not that it's not that I don't agree with what I was saying before, is that through my lens before, everything I said stood and it helped a lot of people. But here's through a different lens what I believe now. If you say at the beginning, you've got to do everything you can in business. You've got to give it your 100%. You can't leave anything off the table. You've got to go for it 100%. You've got to make lists and goals and all the things. And then a few years later, you're like, actually, I do not believe in the hustle culture. I believe in feminine energetics. I just found this whole new world. And I want to talk about feminine energetics and leaning back. And then you're really convinced about that. But then you go a little too far back and you realize you've lost yourself in feminine energetics. Then a few years later, you want to talk about balance. This is normal. If you don't grow and change, that's a much bigger problem than the fact that your topics are going to grow and change. You might talk about money like it's the most important thing on the planet. And then all of a sudden you get money and you're like, whoa, now that I have money, I realize that what's actually more important is quality of life and time spent doing what I love and mindset so that I'm not consistently running after more money. Whoa, this is actually more important to me. Oh, but I can't talk about that. People expect me to talk about money. So always give yourself the context of evolution and growth. This is what has really helped me throughout the years. I have full conviction in what I'm speaking about, and I'm always learning. And if I find a better way, you will know. And I feel like that really helps my people trust me, and it helps me trust me in my conviction, because it's like I would never tell you something I don't have absolute conviction in, but I would always pivot if I found something greater than this. My ego would not be too fragile to say, there's something greater, there's something better, I found something new. And so if you have that built into your voice, this is the greatest thing I know of, and I'm continuing to be on a search. And if I found something else, I would pivot for you, for me, for you, for us. That is a listener that I'm interested in. Don't defend your past opinion. Stand for your convictions, have the flexibility to pivot, grow always. That is the power of a long-lasting voice, because I've seen so many of my people develop a voice built on so much conviction about something that's inevitably going to change, but they don't think it's going to change. And then give them a decade and they want to talk about something else, they feel stuck. And now they're speaking against their alignment, something they don't want to talk about just because they think their audience won't allow them to talk about something new. Always know that you are the director of your channel. Your broadcast is your channel in the world. You decide what you talk about, always. So the greatest thing is conviction within the context of evolution and growth over a lifetime. That for me has been the most important thing for me to grow and feel like I have the right to grow. Okay, next question from Julie Marie. So basically saying, I'm much more in my power when I'm responding like one-on-one with a coaching client. I have beautiful conviction and authority with my speaking. But when I go in to initiate a live stream, for example, it's like I have no idea what to say. And this happened when I excitedly went to do a practice live stream for a channel. So my question is, do you have any suggestions for learning to broadcast on the internet for people who feel more comfortable responding? My ability to use my voice and speaking to a larger audience is important, and I have trouble bringing this to a larger audience. Thank you. So actually, I have great news for you. Very exciting news. So in our Q&A thread, there were a lot of human design questions. And so I spoke to Amy about this, and we decided what we're going to do is there's going to be an opportunity to purchase like a bonus HD defined and undefined throat as it pertains to broadcasting your voice. It'll be $77. If you are in We Are Alpha Femme membership and you have the gold card, if you've activated your gold card, you'll be able to use it 50% off. And so the idea will be to understand your voice, if it's defined or undefined, how does this pertain to this broadcast course? It's going to be extraordinary. So the team's building a sales page for it now. We'll send you, all of you that are gold card, we'll send you the link through email so you can use your gold card. And for everyone else, you'll see the link in the group that you can purchase as well. If you are new to the We Are Alpha Femme membership and you don't have your gold card yet, activate it. It's usually $100 a month and you get it for free for being in the membership, and you'll get 50% off of this. So it'll be a good thing. Okay, so here's the thing about responding. If you're a generator or a manifesting generator and your strategy is to respond, you're going to realize that when people ask you a question and you want to respond so easily, that's so much easier than trying to think about what you want to say and responding from nothing. But the way that I believe, and this is for those of you who end up doing Impact Academy with me, I'm going to help you do this for all of your social media because this to me has been the greatest gift, is that you can create a context of your life, which is like, I am the brand. I am the voice. I constantly respond to everything. That's the whole point of my broadcast. So instead of having a very specific response where it's like, I would need someone to ask me a question for me to respond, you start to look at life with a more open lens. And it's like, I respond to everything. Like I respond to my pool being finished. I respond to a newspaper article that came out about me 3 years ago. I respond to an incredible shopping experience. I respond to a conversation I just had with a parent, a mom, dad, sister, brother. I respond to a thought I just had with Kevin. I respond to something I just watched in a documentary or in something I just heard in a song or something. I respond. I'm constantly attuned, constantly, always attuned to what the world is telling me to listen to. I always listen as a speaker. This has become my identity. My voice is who I am. So I don't listen as a normal human ever. I listen as a speaker. Everything is material always. And as you start to bring this into your work, you're going to realize how easy it becomes to create content when you start changing your lens of the world. Instead of I just listen as a normal person, I listen as a speaker. Everything is material. But in the simplest way, I would say start being interviewed. And so this is so cool. And what I want to do in this group, because I think it could be very valuable, and we're going to talk more about this as the group progresses, but we're going to have threads, not yet, but you can start contemplating this. So I don't want you to start posting about this right now. Wait for the threads. But we're going to have threads where you're going to be able to pitch your podcast or pitch yourself as a speaker on a podcast. And then people can go through that thread and contact you if they want you to speak on their podcast. Or if you think you're a right fit for their podcast, you'll be able to respond on the thread. Why it's so important to find the right connections is that when you are very good at responding, someone asks you a question, you have the best answer ever. But without a question, you're like, what do people want to know? This is also important for projectors because projectors usually wait for the opportunity, like wait for the invitation. Like, tell me what you want me to talk about. And if I don't know what you want me to talk about, then I don't know what to talk about. But becoming a little more sensitive to the world is telling you what to talk about. That TV show just gave you something to respond to. The world is constantly giving you things to respond to. But the number one thing I did for myself, because I'm a manifesting generator and manifesting generators do respond, podcasts changed my world. Podcasts changed my world. They really put me on the map and they expanded my audience in a really beautiful way. But what else really worked for me is having a mastermind and group programs where I coach live. So for those of you who are coaches, mentors, and guides, this is the coolest thing because someone brings you a topic of conversation, you nail the coaching. This is the greatest live stream. This is something that just happened behind the scenes. Here's a little snippet. You obviously don't say who your client is or give personal information on the live stream, but your coaching can become a topic of discussion. So often, my programs are even a response to what's going on behind the scenes in my coaching containers. When I really said, like, my business is built on what the market is really looking for, I work with really extraordinary people behind the scenes. I work with CEOs of really important brands. I work with other coaches and mentors that you love and respect on the internet. I work with people who've done really amazing things in their lives and who ask questions that when I give them the answer, I'm like, everybody could learn from that. Everybody. And so my programs become the answer that I just gave a person that's building a multiple 8-figure business that actually pertains to you even in the beginning. And if you can put this growth mindset into your mind now, when you hit that, it'll be part of your inner makings. It'll already be integrated as truth. This is valuable whether you're building a 6-figure business, a multiple 6-figure business, a 7-figure business, a multiple 7-figure business, an 8-figure business. Like, it doesn't matter. That coaching still works. And I think that what made Alpha Femme so successful in the last few years is that the material that I give you is actually reworked material from what I'm giving my clients that are running multi-million-dollar businesses. And so you're actually getting the best of the best of the best of the best of the best information. Always. I never create anything for beginners. There's never anything made for beginners. There's what I believe will be valuable for you or interesting for you to contemplate early stages versus what's probably not a good idea for you to get distracted by. But if you're already developed, the stuff in broadcast will be good for you. And if you're just starting, the stuff in broadcast will be good for you. And so I'm constantly responding to the highest possible question, making it accessible to everything. That really changed my brand. And it made it in alignment with my luxury brand approach. And it made it in alignment with being the leader of leaders and the alpha femme. And so everything kind of became on brand. And this is something we talk about in Impact Academy. Like, how do we actually align your identity, your voice, your brand, your visuals, your, like, everything actually has an aligned thing where if someone finds something from you and everything makes sense, the yeses happen so much easier. So often in my life, someone will take a free masterclass and join AFE Next, or a free masterclass. I've had people join a $222 offer and buy my $175,000 mastermind on the back end of it, because the information is as good always. I don't limit myself to saying, oh, well, if I'm saying this for free, I probably won't get any high ticket clients from this. That's not been true. If I do something like this for $200-300, it's not the same buyer. That's not true because of my brand. So there's a way for you to create different levels of connection with people and then trust that they're going to lead themselves exactly where they need to go. And so I've developed this answer a little further than what I had originally thought. But what I would say is start with being interviewed, practice being interviewed. But beyond that, contemplate in your life, what's a sign from God, Mother Nature, the universe? Like, where is there a wink that you may have missed because you think that must not have anything to do with me? When in fact, as you start to put yourself out there, I am a speaker, my voice matters. Like, that's an interesting thing to have been put on my path. That's an interesting discussion to have been put on my path. How interesting that this series was put on my path, and I just watched this and I'm just getting all these breakthroughs. This is interesting. This is making me think, realize the world is speaking to you. You get to respond to that. Okay, next question by Jennifer. She says, how do I stay resilient and consistent in sharing my message, even when it feels like no one is listening? What are the signs that my current strategy isn't working, and how can I pivot to reach more people? So, such a good question. The fact is, there will be a day, I promise you, you will be so glad that there were not more people watching you right now. I know that today it doesn't feel great, but I promise you there's days I look at those old live streams of mine and I'm like, there is a Lord, because I was praying to be seen and someone smarter than me said, not today. So there was a shield there. But the fact is, you are going to be seen by the correct people and the correct amount of people. Even being seen has an energy. Like when I'm speaking in a group and there's 3-4 people in it, versus when I'm speaking in a group and there's 100 people in it, versus when I'm speaking and there's 1,000 people watching, it feels different in my body. And sometimes when we feel too much pressure, we don't deliver our best, because it's like, oh my gosh, what if I mess this up? There's so many people watching. So you've got to trust your sweet spot. What I really found was the magical thing for me, and I'll share this, so important, and this was going to be a part of the program anyway. I did not start on social media trying to have a social media presence. I started on social media to stay connected to real people that were in the real world as I traveled the world. So I became a digital nomad after my bankruptcy, and after I lost everything, I just had me and my Honda Civic, and I could be anywhere that I wanted. So I thought, why not take advantage of this? So I just traveled all over the place, with personal development being the main context of my life, responding to these thoughts, feelings, energies everywhere I went, literally being the embodiment of what I was studying. And everywhere I went, I connected with people at the coffee shop, at the hotel poolside, at the grocery store. No matter where I went, there would be a feeling, an energy, a person like, what are you doing? What are you up to? I read someone in We Are Alpha Femme this morning or last night saying, a stranger was like, I hope I enjoy my work the way you enjoy your work. And then she realized she had a big smile on her face. She didn't even realize that she was working, and she had a huge smile on her face. And she said it reminded her of the portal meditation where we were all smiling. And it's like that feeling when you see a person that's just happy, it's odd. How weird is that? But it's odd when you see a person working and they're smiling. It's like, whoa, that's amazing. Being on the phone and being super lit up, like, who are you talking to? What's your job? I couldn't help but overhear. This was happening to me all the time. And so I would stay connected with people on social media and say, well, let's stay connected. So they would become friends with me on Facebook. And so whenever I would make a post or speak, I wasn't trying to meet new people. I was speaking to Lindsay from the coffee shop, and Joanne from the poolside, and Cheryl that I met on the plane. And like, I did not think, it never crossed my mind that I would ever meet people on the internet. I wasn't that kind of cool. I was not an influencer. I was a woman of influence, but I wasn't an influencer. I don't know how to do any of that. But then as I spoke into the camera, it would have been really weird if when I'm speaking to Cheryl, I'm super normal. But when I go on the camera, I'm putting on this persona. And so I had to figure out what my speaker voice was that was the same as my real life voice. I am a speaker. And so later on in here, I have a question, but I'll bring it forward here. Like, how do you stay so relatable and so real and still be in that speaker energy? Is that I literally am a speaker. When I tell you, if Kevin and I are speaking at night in the car, I'm probably recording every second of that conversation, because I'm probably going to say something genius and neither one of us want to miss it. We want to be able to rewind and say, wait, what was that? And rewind. I'm speaking to my sister. I'm probably recording the entire conversation, because one of us is about to say something that's going to change the course of the Alpha Femme brand in this discussion. I speak. This is who I am. I am a speaker. I have stopped talking. I just don't. I listen, I contemplate, or I speak. I listen, I contemplate, or I speak. I am a speaker. And so it just became that this voice that I have, it's the voice you can expect of me. I have had people literally find me during COVID. I had a mask on, I was getting a pedicure, and this woman was like, comes to from the other side of the nail salon. He's like, I thought I heard your voice. She recognized my voice in the nail salon while I'm getting a pedicure. I've got a mask on and all the things. Like, how I've never met this woman in my life, but she heard my voice. I was leaving a voice memo. I'm the same voice. I'm my voice. So if you can become that, I don't just talk to talk. I don't have this lazy like about me. I speak things of value, or I listen, or I contemplate, and I'm constantly listening to the world to see what I'm here to respond to, and I'm constantly being invited to speak. But I am a speaker. All of a sudden, this bridge was just made where I'm speaking to the people I meet in my everyday life, but I'm speaking with absolute conviction and with care about what I'm talking about. I'm not putting on a persona. This is who I am. And all of a sudden, it just became that who I am and behind the camera speaking and who I am in front of you as a person speaking, it's the same voice. And I've often had clients over the years say, I can't have people watch me when I'm doing a live stream. Like, you can't be in the room while I'm doing a live stream. And I'm like, I can probably 100% guess why. And these are the kind of people who are like, I'm so sorry, I've got to go do a live stream and you can't watch me. You know, I've just got, hello, hi guys. Okay, so, and it's like, who is that? That's not who you are. That's not your personality. That's not, why did you change your face? Okay, sorry, I had to go do a live stream. What is that? What was that? Like, who was that? I don't want you to watch me because I know I've got to put on this other person. I need to be more expressive than I usually am. And I need to be more of this than I usually am. Like, if it's weird when you turn on the camera, it's not you, your friends be like, that's not what you sound like. There's going to be a disconnect. And so the fact is, we want to up our speaker game even when we're not on camera. That's what gives us a better sound. You want to up your speaker game even when you're not doing a podcast. That's what's going to give you a better sound. You're going to notice, if you want, there are different levels of your voice. There's a voice that you have where you're just really nasally, or when you're tired and it goes down. Like, you have different voices in your voice box. But you have, if you actually are caring about the sound, there's a sound that comes out that fills your whole self. It's a louder sound. It comes from your whole body. It comes straight out of your sound. Like, it's a smooth, buttery sound, but it only comes with consciousness. The tone of my voice has become so much more pleasant because I care about what it sounds like, but I'm not like, oh, focus on your voice. I'm just like, I am speaking. This matters. And so it comes out so much smoother. It's a smoother sound out of my voice and to hear. It feels better to speak it, feels better to hear it. So the idea here, let me just make sure I'm staying on point with the question. What are the signs my current strategy isn't working? Staying consistent with my message, no one listening. The fact is, it's okay that there's no one listening, because you probably have more issues than just the fact that no one is listening. Is that what you're saying isn't 100% clear yet? The way you're saying isn't 100% clear yet. So I would take advantage of this moment where you can go live and barely no one watches while you figure it out. And I would just work on it and take advantage of the space where you can just go live and not worry and just practice and practice and practice and practice. And eventually the numbers will change. But it's going to be who you are. All of a sudden, it will not feel weird to hold the phone up. It'll feel like an extension of your body. It won't feel weird to turn the camera on. It'll feel like an extension of who you are. The only reason you'll get nervous is because you're excited and because it matters to you, not because you're afraid you're going to mess it up, or you're afraid you're not going to do well enough, or that you don't know what to say, or you don't know if they'll like it. All of that will go away. Take advantage of this moment where you have the stage set for rehearsal. Rehearse, 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 rehearse. Become so good at this to yourself that all the thoughts that they might not get it go out the window. And eventually the people will come. But there's no point in them coming now when you're not even 100% sure what you want them to hear, where you're afraid you're going to fail, where you're afraid they're not going to get it. There's a reason. There's like an energetic shield that protects it right now. So practice, The stage is set, the lights are on, and the audience isn't in the seat yet. You get to rehearse your lines, nail it, and eventually the seats will be full. So you stay resilient in knowing this is just your stage to practice, and eventually the seats will fill. Okay, Linda asks, I'd like to know how to balance my broadcast with motivating, inspiring, teaching, and explaining the value of the work. The overthinking and perfection have kept me quiet, and yet I know speaking means sharing, mostly when the message is clear and potent. Is there an intuitive message of speaking and still touching the business? So what I have found is the clearest way is that it has to feel like they are the same. So remember how yesterday we were talking about there are some things where your conviction is really high and it's a lot easier to talk about those things. And then there's other things where although they're a good idea, you believe in them, they're real, they're true. As soon as you go to speak about them, there's a fear that you might not do it justice, that you're not going to speak about it properly, that people won't get it. This is often what happens when you bring your business to the forefront. Because it's like as soon as there's nothing, there's no skin in the game. If I'm just speaking about gratitude and the beautiful day that is today, or a holiday that we all agree upon, or something beautiful, I can speak about that. But the minute I'm about to ask for a sale, what if they hate it? What if they don't buy it? What if they hang up? What if they don't want to watch this? What if? And then all of a sudden the power of my conviction starts to go down. So the first step is always get really excellent speaking about what you have conviction in. So when I first started selling, and for those of you who are in We Are Alpha Femme right now, one amazing training to watch after this is the sales training. And I just watched someone said, watch Sales Savoir-Faire. There is a Sales Savoir-Faire training and a sold training, 2 sales trainings that are so good about this in the We Are Alpha Femme membership. So the beauty in all this is that I want to get to a point where my conviction in what I'm teaching, my conviction in what I'm sharing, and my conviction in what I'm selling all have the same power. This is where I want to get to. But I at first need to figure out what my conviction is at its peak in something that's not selling, so that I even know what I'm measuring up against. So my greatest tip for you, and this is what I used to do at the beginning, is I used to speak on what I had conviction in. And then at the end, I would say, I have a new program coming. It's about blah, blah, blah. If you feel like it might be for you, DM me. And then I would sell on voice memos person to person in my inbox. I would never sell on a live stream, and I would never talk about what it was, what exactly the details were of my offer either. I would only say, and so I would talk about the thing I have so much conviction in, and I would say, and I've got this brand new program. If you've loved the topic of today, you're going to probably love what I've got coming up. Just DM me and I'll give you the details. And then I'd just go back and forth in voice memos with people, and I closed everybody in the DMs. They messaged me, I responded, that was it. But I never tried to sell on a live stream until I was so convinced, because my programs had so many testimonials and people were so obsessed with everything that I was doing, that I could just drop a sale and my level of conviction was the same in the topics and the sharing and in the selling. But it took a moment for that to happen. For a while, I felt more at ease one-on-one in an inbox when I was talking about selling, but much more ease open to the public when it was time to sell. So this is what I really recommend for you at first. Practice speaking only things that do not challenge your conviction, to find where you are at your peak in speaking. A lot of us, our issue is we're just trying to push topics we're terrified about, and we think that we're not a great speaker as a concept, like I'm not a great speaker, when in fact it's like I'm a great speaker, but as soon as I talk about this, my conviction goes down. It's really good for us to know that difference. So get good at what is effortless for you, see what you actually are capable of, then we can measure against and say, oh, look, when I talk about this, my power's through the roof. As soon as I try to poke this through, it's like, wah, wah. So I need to work on this instead of I'm not a good speaker. And that has been a revolutionary way for me to grow my speaking skills, my conviction, and my sales. Okay, Mor asks, thank you so much for this class. This is so eye-opening already and voice-changing already. Could you please speak about the energy behind your words and who you're speaking to? And we are going to talk about this more in the program. I feel like I'm clear about my mission and what I do, but I'm not so clear about how and who I'm speaking to, and how to speak in a way that they will hear and connect to my message. I feel like this is creating an energy of uncertainty when I speak, yet When I'm asked about my mission, I step into the speaker in me and I feel total alignment. So this is such an important piece of the puzzle. This is like, I don't know how long we've been live, but if you can take a little mental note of what time it is right now, this is a really important piece. So because I started speaking in my life, and I wasn't just talking to people in life and then trying to speak on social media, I really changed the way I speak as a person. And the thing that unlocked for me was the power of one person and how digital speaking is entirely different than stage speaking. Thank you, Danica. So we're at the 39-minute mark in this training. So when you are digital speaking, you have this incredible opportunity to literally speak to one person, and that makes sense. Like, I can just speak to you. And if you blank out everything else, you're alone in your living room. This is not hard to do. You're alone in your office. This is not hard to do. You're alone in your car. This is not hard to do. To imagine I'm just talking to you. In a room, in an audience, when I'm next to two people and there's three people and I can see the heads of the people in front of me and I can hear the person behind me breathing and crunching, it's almost impossible for me to feel like I'm the only person in the room. It's impossible. When I'm a speaker and I'm on a stage and I'm seeing this group and I'm feeling the whole group and I'm noticing the whole group, it's hard to imagine I'm only speaking to one person. As a matter of fact, when you're stage speaking, they teach you to take the whole room in, to scan the room, to pick up the energies of everybody. But what I found in digital speaking is that you can really focus on the power of one. And I will tell you, this is how I've built my whole audience. There's you. Every training I do, every live stream I do, I'm like, if one person is totally changed by this, if I find my one person in this room, I'm happy. Over the course of my career, like let's say I've had Alpha Femme now for 7 years, I can tell you 7 people. I can count 7 people very easily that if I take those 7 people away, my career is not the same. And then I have a bunch of extraordinary clients that have been incredible, but they didn't show up in my containers or in my life like the other 7. Like I could say 1 a year. So if one person a year ends up becoming like one of those people, my life has changed. What if one of those people is in the room today? Then if I look, every program I do, at least one person rises in my life, completely changes their life, joins something that and really steps up. What if that's you? Just you in this one. Let me focus on that. So the power of one person for me has changed everything. So when I'm going live, I'm not thinking to myself, let me speak to 100 people. Let me speak to 200 people. Let me speak to 300 people. My frequency and my real honest feeling is, let me speak to you. Let me speak to you, the frequency of you. And that has changed the game for me because I know what it feels like to have a client that I absolutely love, even though they're all different. Every single one of my clients is different age, different background, different marital status, have kids, have no kids, have been doing business for a long time, have not been doing a business for a long time, what the profession is, whether it's brick and mortar, whether it's a coaching or consulting company. Like, I've got such a diverse range of clients, but the feeling that I have when I'm speaking to my person is the same. And I go live with that feeling. And so I know that if you're in the zone with me, if I enter this in the zone to talk to you, and you enter this in the zone to listen to me, we're going to lock in. And that's what I'm focusing on. So I'm not trying to speak to all of you. I'm not trying to touch everybody. I'm in the you frequency because all it takes is one person to lock with me and it works. And the thing is, it's an individual responsibility. When you're watching me and when you're listening to me, you decide how you show up for your half of the conversation. You either decide you don't matter and you're in a huge room, or you decide you're the most important person in this room and everything I'm saying is for you. And that will change the way you hear what I'm saying. So it's such a powerful thing when you start listening like that, because we get in the zone together and something really magical starts to happen. So I create everything in the you. So instead of trying to figure out like, who's my ideal client is X amount of years old, lives in this town, has a dog named Shishi, favorite food is Chinese, favorite color is blue, loves long sunsets along the beach, and, you know, loves feathers. Like this is like the typical stereotypical ideal client. But for me, the ideal client is how I feel when I'm with you. Like my ideal client makes me feel like we're doing big things. My ideal client makes me feel like this is just the beginning for us. My ideal client makes me feel like we are just getting started. Things are amazing. Things are breaking through. This is so good, but this is just the beginning. My ideal client makes me feel like we're going to impact a lot of people together, that the ripple effect of our work together is going to go so far. My ideal client makes me feel like we're focused, we're in the zone, we're really doing this. This matters. We're here, we're doing it. We're curious about what's next. Like that's my feeling. So I'm speaking to that. And if that exists in you, I'll wake it up. And if it was present already, I'm going to activate it. If you showed up in the room with that, you'll be buzzing by the time we get off, because that is literally the energy. So instead of thinking about who my ideal client is, I paint myself in the relationship with the ideal client. How do I feel when I have an ideal client? How do I speak when I have an ideal client? How far do I go? How much time do I spend? How big do I go when I'm speaking to the best client? And that has really helped me broadcast in a very different way. I never speak to the person who might not get it. I never speak to the person who might not understand. I don't speak to the person who will find this complicated. I speak to the person who gets me 100%. And then I offer Q&As and opportunities to reach out to my team if that didn't land, and we make it better for you. But I speak to the highest, most capable version of you, and then I fill in the blanks wherever you need me to. And that has been a game changer. I speak to visionaries, whether I'm on a podcast, whether I'm on a live stream, whether I'm in a program. But I also am humble enough to know that I might go above people's heads and people might be like, wait, what? And then I need to refine, add a module. My team needs to step in. We need to help, like, and we'll do that. But I aim for, we're going, sky isn't even the limit. And that's where I found my ideal client connection, not in who you are, how I feel when I'm with you. And when you think about even manifesting your ideal relationship in your life, I've seen so many people do this, like, okay, my ideal relationship is I'm looking for a guy in finance, 6'5", brown hair, blue eyes. Like I'm looking for this chick, 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 chick. But what I'm really looking for is I feel like I could fly. I've never been more proud of myself in my life. I care about me for the first time and I don't know how long. I feel like I can focus on myself. My ideas are sharp. I look forward to life. I have this like healthy butterfly in my stomach where I'm excited to see what's coming next. I'm happy. That's my ideal relationship. That's how I feel when I manifest my ideal relationship. Instead of just like chick, 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 it's more, I'm manifesting it within me. And so I do that with my clients as well. And it's been a game changer. Okay, next question. Can you speak to comparison? I used to do live video challenges all the time. And at one time I went live every year for 2 years. And what bothered me is that I had friends in these challenges with me. They said we'd support each other. And then I found myself watching their lives, helping them, and on mine, very little viewers or comments of substance. So part of me is like, I don't want just pity, just be nice with me and engage anyway. I want people to believe in what I'm saying, and they're going to be the people who walk with me on this journey, but I'm finding it hard to find true connection. So I really chose this question for a very, very important reason, because you're also going to pitch yourself to go on podcasts on here. People will talk to you about their podcasts. You might not be chosen. You might not be seen. You might go entirely invisible in this program. That does not mean anything completely bad. It's just supposed to show you a clue. Everything is just a little like, look at this, notice this, look at this, notice it. It's just a little, boop, pay attention to this. So here's what I can feel when I read this. You did not believe enough in your voice that you would build an audience on your own. You tried to get people to come and support you. You said, at least if these people support me, it'll look like I have people watching. And that is such a different feeling than I speak and they will come, because this is my voice. You were banking on the need for them to show up for you, and that's why they didn't. It does not serve us to have the fake, what it looks like on the internet. And the thing with a voice is you can't see it. And this is why I think this is the most genuine thing you can really work on, is that you can't fake your voice. It's your voice. You can't make it look more beautiful than it is. It is what it is. What you say is what it is. You can't say what it looks like and it lands. It just doesn't. If it's not embodied, it just poof, no one hears it. It's not what it looks like. It's what it is. It's the most substantial, real thing. So when you're trying to make it look like people are listening, that's not going to help. When they're not listening, that's a clue. Focus on that more than how do I make it look like people are listening. And so you want to really check within yourself where the fundamental belief before you even decided to invest all this time watching other people's live streams just so they would watch yours. What was the fundamental belief about your voice? Was probably no one will listen and I need this support group if anyone's going to listen to me. And when you notice that, oh wow, I have this innate belief that no one's going to listen to me, that's a clue. And that's more valuable than you not noticing it because 3 of your friends comment on every live stream you've ever made, because you might not even realize that you did that if it had gone well. So the fact is, I have hundreds of clients. I have thousands of clients. It would be my dream come true that every client, every time they saw a live stream of mine or a post of mine, said, "This is brilliant, thank you." That's not what happens. You guys, a lot of you read the post, you think it's great, but then you just keep scrolling because that's what we do. You don't like every time, you don't comment every time, you just scroll through. And so even though I have over 1,000 clients, you think it looks like I have 1,000 clients on my social media? No. And I have thousands and thousands of graduates. You'd think people who've been in a year in AFE with me and love me would say on everything, "Thank you so much for continuing to write these incredible things for me." No, but I'll see like 57,000 views and then like 1,000 likes and then 20 comments because people are bombarded by stuff. So what has really helped me is it's not about what it looks like. It's about what it is. I can't see if you listened. I can see the amount of views, but I can't see if you really listened. I can't see if you read it. I can't see if you read it. That's for sure. I don't know. So the only thing I can do is have faith that you are seeing it. And if the thought in my mind is, I bet the reason they didn't like it or they didn't comment on it was because it wasn't good enough, if that's the thought that comes into my mind, then I'll actually question myself on that. Is it true that I think I could have done better? Or am I doing this thing where because it didn't get heard, I think I'm not good enough? And I'll check that out for myself. Most of the time, it's one of those validation things where if I just trusted and said, I don't think I could have made this better. This is excellent. It's good enough. Work on your next piece. Just trust. This is excellent. It's good enough. Work on your next piece. Just trust. It's excellent. It's good enough. It'll work on your next piece. Because I can tell you the majority of the people who have bought from me at a higher ticket, so the people who paid between, let's say, $15,000 to $500,000 to work with me, do not comment on my social media. 90% of them don't. They read it, and then instead of liking or commenting, they go to my inbox and ask me for a link. They say, "That post you just wrote was crazy and I'm finally ready. I want in for AFE." They say, "Give me the deets on AFE next. I'm ready." They say, what are your masterminds? What's your one-on-one options? Like, they're not just like validation, beautiful post. They're like, whoa, I'm buying something. So also take that into consideration as you're speaking. You're not just speaking for likes. You're speaking for movement. I would rather be paid to speak than liked to speak. And if you can like integrate that and say, my speaking collects money, the likes are just a fun bonus. But my social media was not created for likes. It was created as a viable business model. And that's what I want for you as well. Have them be so enamored by what you just said that they're not looking for the like button. They're looking for the PayPal button. That's what we want. And if they have time to press both, brilliant. If they loved it so much, they watched it twice, and the first time they paid the PayPal link and the second time they paid the like link, brilliant. But if they've got to choose a link, if they've got to choose a button to press, I'd prefer paid than I like. And that's given me so much freedom. Like, if they didn't have time to comment, they were too busy buying. See? Just like that. But if there really is a truth, this could have been better, then brilliant, make it better. Not from a bad place, from a good place. Evolution and growth over a lifetime. How do we make this even better? Like, I care so much about entrepreneurship. I want to see the most beautiful storefronts. I want to see the most epic restaurants. I want to see the most amazing practices, dental, most beautiful nail salons, hair salons. I want to see the most beautiful spas. I want to see people go above and beyond for their businesses. I want to see care. I want to see people being proud of what they do and what they offer. I want to see full practices sold out, psychologists, psychiatrists sold out, coaches, mentors sold out, consulting services sold out, marketing services, podcasting services sold out. I want to see real estate agents with wait lists. I want to see a world of entrepreneurs thriving, 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 because we care about our businesses and we care about refining, instead of people who are burnt out and upset because it feels like nobody cares about their business. And it's such a tiny little shift. One is like, I was born for this and I'm figuring it out and I'm constantly raising the bar. And the other one is, maybe I wasn't cut out for this. Maybe that was a sign. I don't know what's wrong with me. And we're always just this far away from wah, wah. So it's plugging into the magic and plugging into the vibes that are also right there to touch and grab. If you're available to train your mind and be like, okay, how could I be thinking about this differently? How could I be acting upon this differently? There's always a higher perspective for anything we're going through. And it's training ourselves to become that person that always chooses that higher perspective when we can. Okay, next question. Amazing session as always. I feel like I can get into that power speaking voice in my master classes and courses, but when it comes to Instagram lives, I can't do it. Why is that? So I want to tell you, I'm the freaking same. I am the most awkward person on Instagram. I don't understand why it happens. My greatest explanation for it is that it's not the real people's names. That's the first thing I think is the issue for me when I go live on Instagram. So it's like Princess Consuela Banana Hammock 64 says, "Hi, Melanie." And I'm like, "Hi, Princess Consuela Banana Hammock 64. Like, who are you?" Whereas on Facebook, it's like, Julie, Holly, Tiffany. It's so much easier for me to be like, "Hi," like that makes sense. On Instagram, doesn't make sense. The other thing that kind of confuses me with Instagram is that I will be, well, Princess Consuela Banana Hammock is a friend's thing. It's Phoebe's friends. Phoebe's name on Facebook. When Mike wants to be called crap bag, for those of you who know friends. Anyway, so the thing is, when you're on Instagram, you don't see the names. So it's kind of awkward, but also while you're live, everything you say while you're live eventually completely disappears. So when you do post the live stream, all the comments go away. So I'm often in my head, like if I laugh at something or respond to something on a Facebook live, when people are watching, they're seeing all the comments. So it's like someone says something funny, I laughed at it. It makes sense. On an Instagram replay, there are no comments and I'm just like, that's so funny. People are like, okay, so no one was watching this chick and she's just laughing and like, oh, good one. Who? What? No one's there, Melanie. No one said anything. I'm reading the comment section. No, it was when I was live. I swear people were there. So I find the whole thing a little odd. I'm not very good at Instagram. So what I tend to do, I do it because I want to sharpen my skills. So I do it, but I would say 80% of the time I do a live stream on Instagram, I delete it when I'm done. I do not post it to my feed. It's one of those, like, if you were there, I'm like Pokeroo. I'm there live. If you're there, you get it. If you don't, you don't. But what I do with Facebook lives is once I've done them on Facebook, I post them on Instagram. And that has been a better fit for me. I prefer going live on Facebook than Instagram. Other people have the complete different experience though. This is just my experience, but I wonder if that might be a thing for you. So what I would say is don't push yourself to put yourself on platforms that you don't get. Like, for example, I'm not on TikTok. Like I don't even have TikTok on my phone. I don't have the application. So when people are like, "What, you would make so much money with TikTok," I'm like, well, maybe I would, except I don't use TikTok. So I wouldn't use a platform that I don't use. I just wouldn't, I wouldn't. Whereas like I use my Facebook every day and I use my Instagram every day. So I've picked those two platforms. And I think that, and I listen and I love, if I have a person that I'm considering hiring in my life, I'll immediately go find what podcasts they've been on. I want to listen to them speak because ultimately I'm going to be speaking with them. I want to know what it sounds like. So I know which platforms I value. I speak on the platforms I value. That is also, I very rarely watch an Instagram live from anybody, but I will watch Facebook live and I will watch podcasts. But I understand the power of social media, so I will repost on Instagram. But I tend to use Facebook first because I use it more, and I tend to use podcasting because I value podcasting. Go with what you value most. Okay. This one is from Amy, and Amy is saying, I'm a life coach with a spiritual background. Although I feel like having a spiritual connection is so vital to being a human here on this planet, I know that not everyone understands it. In fact, even 4 years ago, I didn't. And because of that, I feel shaky and nervous to speak about it in my Facebook group. Would you say I should speak about other coaching topics until I'm completely convinced about spirituality? So I would like, what would the group say in response to this, based on everything we've talked about? Would you say talk about it because you're going to get better at it? Or would you say don't talk about it and talk about something else based on what you've learned with me today? I'm kind of curious what people would say. Let's see what the group says. Talk only about things that you have conviction on. Practice offline. Talk about where you are at, honestly. Talk about what you can talk about with conviction. Talk about what lights you up and doesn't feel threatening. Don't talk about it yet. Speak about on what you have conviction in. Talk about what you believe in. Start one-on-one. So this is what I would say. Your spirituality, it's growing. You have a real, honest truth about what spirituality feels like to you right now. So instead of trying to explain spirituality as you understand it, speak about spirituality as you experience it. And what that looks like is to maybe open up and say, there's a topic behind the scenes of my life that has been such a pivotal thing for me. And I'm still at a place where I find it funny to talk about it because I know that there's a lot of perceptions about this. And if you're like me, you might be like this, like kind of hidden with your spirituality. Behind the scenes, you're super connected to it, but you would never speak about it openly. And so I'm wanting to speak about it openly a little bit more because behind the scenes with my clients, this is something that I really help them with. But I'm not yet at the place where I want to openly broadcast it or teach about it because that's not the energy of where I feel most solid yet. But if you're listening to me and there's certain things you love about me and you're wondering if I have a spiritual side or you have questions about it, feel free to DM me. Look, see, that's a little pocket. It lasted 2 seconds. It was true. It was real. It was exactly how you feel, and it's done. Okay, and next time you feel something a little bit more, perfect, you go and you bring it back. We don't need to go and teach on things in order for people to understand that we have something about that. I think mystery does so well in speaking. Seed something and say, come and ask me about it if this interests you, and then have a one-on-one conversation. Not everything has to be a broadcast. Sometimes you use the broadcast to advertise something. And this is something we're going to talk about deeper inside the program, because for me, this has actually been the greater thing. It's not everything I care about or know about I broadcast. It's I'm the channel. So I want to broadcast on the channel what people are going to listen to. And then I want to advertise on my broadcasts things that'll make people go, tell me more about that. I advertise my own programs on my broadcast channel. I don't use the channel to broadcast. I don't have the shopping channel. I have the Alpha Femme channel, enter Impact Academy, enter broadcast, enter Exponential Wealth, enter Alpha Femme Experience. I run ads, I give myself marketing and advertising time slots in my broadcast. Tons of value with an ad, tons of value with a marketing campaign on my own platform. But I have to have a broadcast that people are obsessed with so that when I do talk about the thing that's a sale, they're willing to listen and hear through the infomercial. And I feel like that is a part most people miss with social media, is understanding this whole thing is one channel. How do I advertise on my own channel? This is mine. I can do whatever I want with it. I could say absolutely no advertising or marketing on this channel. Nothing at all. Just real raw talking. And that would be valuable if you're paid based on numbers, the amount of people who watch you. So if you have a YouTube channel and you want to give zero advertising ever, all you're ever talking, the only thing you're doing is subscribe for more because all you want is visibility, there's no reason for you to have any ads whatsoever. And you can broadcast that as the added value of your channel. But for some of you, the ads are where you make all the money, and the ads are your programs, your services, your products. So how amazing of a channel can you develop where people actually love to watch your ads? And this is why I give so much care to the ads for every program that we create. Like I create a movie trailer for every program because I want it to feel like Alpha Femme is the channel. And then here's the feature presentation. And I actually want it to feel like I want to watch this preview. I want to watch this ad. And I want to contemplate buying this on this channel that I watch. If we can get you there in your mindset, you're going to have so much fun with all of this. It won't feel like you're asking people to do things. It'll feel like you're giving people an opportunity in the middle of something great to do something great. I love selling. I love marketing. I love advertising. It's so rewarding. It's so much fun. And when you get into the zone with it and you understand your unique brand, you're gonna love it. We've just got to get you in the right zone. But this is actually so freaking fun. It's so fun. And I feel so satisfied when I've nailed the show, I've nailed the broadcast, I've nailed the pitch, I've nailed the sale, I've nailed it all. And I go to bed at night and I'm like, this was a freaking win. I feel so purposeful. I feel happy. I feel aligned. Like there's nothing like this. It's so good. And this is really what I want to help you build. So if you can see this even beyond this Q&A, if you can focus on this as the homework, if you saw yourself as a broadcast channel and you saw your selling and your advertising and your marketing as an ad on your channel, would you see things differently? What comes to mind when you think about it in that context? And the last question, what about a person with an expressive voice? What can I do to not look like I'm overdoing it, but just being expressive in my public speaking? I can't be monotone, but I'm scared that my expressions might look like I'm too much and I'm looking too excited or frustrated, but it's my way of speaking. I'm expressive. I love making people question with humor or dramatization. Like I really make people feel profoundly. I I could come with a sign that says, this is a dramatization. Like I am so big in my emotions and my feelings and my speaking sometimes, but then I have the nuance where I bring it all back. And I think that what tends to happen when people are always is they don't speak enough. It means you're only speaking when you're super excited or super frustrated. You haven't yet learned to speak when you're also just fascinated about something or wanting to just share something. And so I think that this is normal in the beginning stages. We're looking for something that's going to make us brave enough to broadcast. So what's making me brave enough to broadcast is I'm real mad about something or I'm super excited about something, which means every time you're watching me, you're either getting yay or you're getting and it's this super intense emotion. But if I add to this, I speak when I learned something valuable. I speak when I'm going through something and I think it might help someone. Those things genuinely actually don't have that same energy. So you'll find yourself finding more nuance in your voice. I love people who are expressive. I think it gives them a really beautiful range. But if you only speak when you're excited or mad, it still looks one line. And that's where we want to be careful because even super excited all the time ends up being flat. Because this and this are both flat. Doesn't matter that you're high vibe. It's flat if it's all one note. The magic is in this. You're going through something great. You're going through something hard. You're excited. You're nervous. You're calm. You're zen. You're in the zone. You're fired up. And people can live through that with you. And for a lot of people, what's hard is accessing those emotions. Everything kind of feels flat. They've got to go outside the box. For you, those things are easy. You're just maybe not giving yourself permission to speak when there's nothing big to speak about. That might be your gateway for the next step. So I want to thank you so much for this Q&A. I made it through all the questions I selected for this one. Tomorrow we have a full-blown module. So you're coming in tomorrow to come and learn. And then we have another Q&A on the day after. If no new questions get added, I'll pick from the ones that are there. Some of them I didn't choose because they're human design questions, and Amy is going to be doing this bonus. So look out for that. I'll post a link featured. So when you go into the group where there's the featured section, when you click on that, the replays are there, and also the link to sign up for the gold card will be there. If you're new to the We Are Alpha Femme membership and you don't have your gold card yet, you can sign up for that so that you receive the email from us for your 50% off price for this human design portion for the voice activation, like whether you have a defined or undefined throat. And that's what we're going to do. So contemplate, if my channel was a broadcast of my own, If I saw it like I'm Oprah, I have my channel, and even the ads are mine to run, would I see my ads differently? Would I value them differently? Would I treat them differently? Would I understand the dynamics of what I speak of that's not an ad versus what I speak of that is an ad? Would I see that dynamic differently? Like, I want to give total value so people are there when the ad runs. This whole goal is that this is valuable and this is valuable. So thank you so much for being here. You're lovely, you're beautiful, you smell nice, and I shall see you tomorrow. Thank you so much.
They call me sassy when I'm strolling down the street. They call me classy when I'm serving just the best. Just the best. They call me sassy when I'm strolling